Hi everyone. I just put a long post on X to explain to people how I make my forecasts, because I'm getting a lot of abuse from various trolls when my forecasts are wrong. When my forecasts are correct, they're not around to see that. They're only around when my forecasts are wrong. And also people who have recently purchased my forecasts will benefit to understand how I work. So I'm giving an example here in this tweet. So what happened today? Today was expected to be a green day, and today is dumping. So that is why my forecast is late today, because I had to check what is going on, and I don't leave it alone until I find an answer, and a good quality answer, not just imagining or assuming, but I had to back test it to obtain a bit more certainty. So first of all, let me just remind you how I ended up making my forecast for today to be a green closure. So the aspect that took place yesterday on 22nd of July was Mars conjuncting Ketu, and that forecasted 70% probability of the trend after to be up, meaning the 23rd was expected to be up for minimum 1 day. All of my forecasts always involve daily time frames. 1 means minimum 1 day, right? So that is confluence 1. Then confluence 2, Venus square Rahu, that took place today on the 23rd of July. It had a 64% probability of closing on green today. So that's confluence number 2. And then the daily time frames confluences, that are actually the initial confluences, starting from the historical probabilities. This is 60% green closure of 23rd of July across all years of Bitcoin's life. Then we had a note here, big green candle has taken place on this cycle, right? That coincides with 23rd of July. The Chinese is 51% closing on red, but that's almost 50-50, so we disregard that. And then here it is. Look at the eclipse cycles. This is this backtesting is of all solar eclipse cycles for the whole duration of Bitcoin's life. 63% probability of green closure. The next one is only the solar eclipse that we are currently on, and that is the partial solar eclipse, only that is isolated now. This is all, and this is the partial solar eclipse isolated. 73%. Mercury retrograde in Leo gave 67% of a red closure, but so far, did you count them? So we had 3 confluences here, 3 green here, 1 neutral, 3 green, and then those 2 aspects that I showed you make 5 green, and we have this 1 red. 5 green, 1 red. Lunar day 28 is one of the most bullish lunar days. Moving on here. So the state of the moon today. Moon made a conjunction to Jupiter. Normally when moon conjuncts Jupiter is green. Mind you, it happened very early in the day, and there are no other aspects of the moon to support that, but still the bias is on the side of green. So despite all of these confluences, today closed on a red, and I spent the whole fucking day trying to find out why that is, because it's not only about losing a daily time frame of a forecast, it's not about that, but sometimes when we're inaccurate about a daily time frame, that actually shows that we may have an inaccurate picture of the trend, and that is a very serious problem, because even if the trend for a couple of days deviates, that is okay, but it may be a case that we have a wrong picture of the trend. So that is why I had to drop everything else I was doing today, and I had to come and find out what is going on here. So what I have done here is our Venus-Mars square took place today, by the way, but it had very weak probability, only 52% probability of today closing on green. So that is why I didn't even bother considering it, right? So the question here is, first we need to understand why today didn't close on a green despite all of these confluences, and is there any change to the trend? These are the two questions that I had to answer today. So what is happening is on 25th of July we have a very serious aspect, Sun opposition Pluto. And I had the daily time frame, 71% of closing on red, but I had forgotten to backtest the trend before, and I only discovered this today. This is so typical of Mercury retrograde, this kind of mistakes, omitting to do things, forgetting to do things. So unfortunately it was not in my control. I discovered it only today that I haven't done it, and I had to do it. So 79% probability that the trend before the event is a downtrend. Saying that, I will not be surprised if tomorrow 24th of July closes on a green, just to spite this forecast. This July has happened several times like that, when I have given very high probabilities of something and then it hasn't happened. So let's just put 24th of July to one side. It's not an important daily time frame, 24th of July. What is important is why today didn't close on a green with this very high percent probability that I presented. So this is the reason. It's showing that the trend before was a downtrend for minimum 1 day. And before that it has been a downtrend for more days, right? So this is the reason why today didn't close on a green, because this aspect is exact on 25th of July. But at the moment today it's only 1 degree apart. Let me just show you the aspect. If you notice, I didn't start by showing you the aspect, because that's what most astrologers do. They'll look at the chart and they'll say, oh, this doesn't look good, so this must be the reason. But that's not how I work. I need to backtest it to have more certainty. Without backtesting it, you never know. It may look like a very negative aspect, and as you can see on the backtesting, some very negative aspects produce green results. And this whole month has been laced with negative aspects. That Mars conjunct Ketu, who would have thought in a million years that Mars conjunct Ketu will be pumping on 22nd of July? That was given as a dumping day. Everybody expected that yesterday will dump, but then I decided that there will be pumps. I checked the hourly time frames and I said, oh no, there will be pumps in the last quarter of the day, just to be on the safe side, and it ended up pumping all day. Crazy. So we should never analyze this chart. That's why I rarely look at these charts. Majority of the time I just have a very quick look at them, and then I go to the back testing and I do the tables, because it's the back testing that matters, not assumptions that if it looks right it will be right. So anyway, this aspect, Sun opposition Pluto, it's only 1 degree away from being exact, and unfortunately this is a very serious aspect, because the Sun is getting battered by Pluto. The Sun just entered Leo. It wants to pump. Yesterday it was on a 0 degree Leo. It wants to go high, and Pluto is saying, no, you have to go through me first if you want to go high. So now that we have done the back testing, now we know. It's important to know why something has not happened. This kind of debrief after an event is very useful for learning and for future forecasting. So the next question is the trend changed as a result of today not closing on green? And my answer is yes, the trend has changed, because there is a green, and if today had closed on a green, let's say a small green candle, so let's say it was not a top but it still closed on a green, then the trend would be the same. We will have the same expectations of the trend. But because this is a very big red candle, I mean, this is seriously shouting. It's shouting big time. I already deleted that. Oh, I just put it very high. 23rd of July. Right? Look how high this fractal was. So today it went in exactly the opposite direction with a very big candle downwards. So clearly that fractal is now invalid. It's not gonna happen like this, the way it was projected. So the trend has to change, and that's the purpose of this video. Otherwise, if it was only a daily time frame, lose a daily time frame and stay on the same fractal, it's not a big deal. So how will the trend change? Well, we will use the fractal of the Pluto opposition, the Sun opposition Pluto. Why? Because this setup here is very similar to the setup last year. It's only 1 degree difference. So this year the Sun is on 2 degree Leo, and last year the Sun was on 1 degree Leo when the same aspect happened. And this is the only historical occasion when it was exactly almost on the same degrees, just 1 degree difference. This year Pluto is on 2 degrees Aquarius. Last year Pluto was on 1 degree Aquarius. Everything in the past is not really valid very much, because in the past the Sun was in Cancer and Pluto was in Capricorn, so they're not that relevant. The most relevant one is the last year, because it's on very similar degree. So I had a look what happened then, and this is what happened after the event. So the day closes on red, right? So my forecast for 25th of July is a red closure. And then look what happens. 2 days after that it goes down, then for 4 days it goes up, and then for 7 days it goes down. So it's not gonna be the straight down dump that. So the previous projection was we make a top today, or the Ethereum one was showing 24th to be the top. So either 23rd or 24th, that was my forecast. We make a top on 23rd or 24th, and then we head straight down up until then, and then we head up. But that got invalidated, so now the trend line becomes a little bit slightly different. The similarity is that it's still heading down, but only after 1 more week. And what will happen in the coming week is this. So follow the table again. 2 days up after the event, so from 25th, so 25th is red, right? So it's lower than 24th. So this is 25th. 2 days down, we make a local bottom on 27th of July. And then 4 days up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days up to make the 31st of July. The 31st of July top, right? I don't know how high that top will be, whether it will be a double top to the 14th of July, or whether it will be higher than 14th of July. I cannot tell right now. Maybe I will be able to tell by then, but right now I don't know. So we make that top on the 31st of July, and then we head down until the 7th of August. We make a bottom on the 7th of August, and then we start going up sustainably. So this is the new fractal, everybody. Based on this, because the degrees are very similar, very rarely in back testing we can get an example from the past that has very similar degrees to what we're experiencing this time around. So that is why I'm trusting it. I'm trusting this projection. Okay, so what I'm going to do after this video is, because I need to write the dates here to be clearer for you. So I will write the dates and then I will send this screenshot in the update for today to everybody. And then from now on, we're going to be monitoring this fractal. So the white fractal got invalidated. Guess what? Guess who is coming back? Well, the eclipse number 1 fractal. That's coming back. It became valid from today. So as I have explained to you before, the eclipse fractals, we can never give up on them. So look at that. It started the month being very valid. It was valid until one day it became invalidated. Before the 9th, you can see it's valid for the 9th. But before the 9th it got invalidated. Ah, yes, here on the 8th. It got invalidated on the 8th. We got a green candle, but the fractal here is showing lower. And that is how I got caught. I invalidated this fractal and then I didn't look at it for the 9th, and that is how I failed to predict the 9th. There's been so much trickery involved this month. It felt like something is out to get me. The smallest mistakes I have made this month came back to punish me really harshly. Like, I forgot to backtest this trend before, which I rarely do, and sometimes I have got away from forgetting to do things many times, but this month, no. Every single mistake I have made comes back to punish me. So I invalidated this fractal sooner, and then that's it. Look at it. It's showing a big green candle on the 9th, and I failed to predict that. So despite knowing that these fractals, you just don't give up on them. Even if they invalidated for several days, they come back. Look at that, 15th of July bottom. We made a big red candle here on 15th of July. Then these two sticks, do you see these two sticks here? For 16th or 17th of July, higher. And the green candles are higher. Yes, and again, 18th of July lower. Here it is 18th of July lower. Here it is not valid. 19th of July here is showing higher, so it's not valid here, but then it gets valid here. It gets valid on 20th of July, then 21st and 22nd of July invalid, but it is valid for today. So it's not my number 1 fractal, by the way. My number 1 fractal now is this event that is happening on the 25th, the Sun-Pluto opposition, because of those very similar degrees, and also the heavier the planet that is involved, the more likely it is, the slower the planet that is involved, the more likely it is that it will be impactful. And Pluto is the slowest planet in the solar system. So this is the main fractal, the red fractal. And then this is a secondary fractal. Why I'm using it? Because the eclipse fractal suddenly is indicating a bottom on the 26th of July, which is very similar to this bottom, the 27th of July. It's handy, it's useful to keep several versions, because we may not be accurate to the exact daily time frame. We need to give it plus minus 1 day on each side, and here it is. The eclipse fractal is saying 26th of July bottom. I brought back Venus fractal. Venus fractal was brutally invalidated with this green candle on the 9th of July. Up until the 9th of July, the Venus fractal had 80% accuracy, and that was my main fractal. And suddenly on 9th of July it went in the opposite direction. So it was invalid, and then suddenly it started getting valid again. So what is the Venus fractal projecting? The Venus fractal is projecting a bottom on 25th of July. Suddenly now all 3 fractals are converging that we're expecting a bottom very soon, a local bottom. This bottom that we're expecting now is not going to be as low as this bottom here on the 7th of August. The bottom on the 7th of August is expected to be lower. However, we are expecting a local bottom now. 3 fractals are confirming that. They just don't agree on the exact date. Between 25th and 27th of July, we're expecting a bottom, and then we're gonna make temporary recovery, which coincides with the chartists. The chartists were telling me, because they followed the FOMC meetings, that they said before the FOMC it will be going up. That's what several chartists said. And the FOMC is what, on the 29th of July? Actually, not every chartist said that. Another chartist said that it will be dumping before the FOMC, but the majority of the chartists were saying that we're going up towards the FOMC. I don't use fundamental, so I'm just saying as an additional confluence. If you want to know what the chartists are saying, is that the majority of them believe that we'll be heading up until the meeting, and then we'll be dumping after the meeting. So the meeting is on 29th of July. So this fractal is saying 31st of July, but it may be a day sooner before we make the bear reversal. The most important is that we have an idea about the trend ahead of us. That's very, very important. After that, if we nail the exact date, it will be great. If we miss it, it's okay. It's very difficult to nail these exact dates because the range now is not very wide. It's a narrow range, so it will be difficult to nail the exact date. Okay, so what is happening on the 1st of August, just as an additional confluence, is that we have 52% only confirmation that 1st of August will be closing on a red, a very low percentage. So I'm going to disappear for a week because I have to prepare the August forecast. I wanted to leave you with this new fractal that I got from that aspect, and I'm gonna add the dates before I post it to you. The next thing I just wanted to check. Yes, tomorrow we have Sun Neptune trine. We have a lot of bullish. The moon is quite bullish for tomorrow. So on the other hand, I told you a very respectful astrologer predicted some very nasty events to happen tomorrow, the 24th of July. So I cannot make a forecast about 24th of July. We have very mixed confluences for 24th of July. And it is possible, if my colleague is correct, he forecasted that tomorrow, 24th of July, we will be experiencing outages, and that we will be experiencing something like a 9/11. He has a very detailed description of the aspects tomorrow are very similar to 9/11. So that's what he's forecasting. I cannot recommend him because I don't know him well enough, but I'm just sharing his forecast with you. And I told him if he's correct about tomorrow, I will recommend him publicly. So for that reason, because the moon is very bullish tomorrow, and then colleagues are forecasting negative events for tomorrow, I'm gonna abstain from making a forecast about 24th of July. I'm forecasting the 25th of July is expecting to be red. Another thing I wanted to show you is just as an additional confluence, because I always consider confluences. I never just check one or two events. So the eclipse cycle is heading towards making a bottom when? On 26th of July. According to the eclipse cycle, we're making a bottom. And that is a very good confluence for. Remember that this 27th of July date is an independent date. It's got nothing to do with the eclipse. This is the eclipse here, 26th of July. So this is an independent date, and suddenly these two are converging together. So that is something. I trust them. I really trust them. So this is the fractal for you, everyone. I'm going to disappear for a week because I need to focus on the August forecast, and also I'm fully booked with private work as well. And what we will do, if this is right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not gonna be coming back for the rest of the month because I need to prepare good quality forecast for August. I hope it's right. That's what I've got at the moment. That's, I know I spent a whole day trying to figure out what went wrong to get this red candle today, and I think I'm on the right track because of that back testing, that it gave very high probability the Sun Pluto opposition of a downtrend before the event. Here it is 79%. It's quite a high probability, so this must be it. There can't be anything else. Have a lovely evening, everyone, and I'll catch up with you with the August forecast, which will not be available to the public, by the way. The August forecast will be only available to subscribers. Bye for now.